Visiting with Huell Howser is made possible through a generous grant from the Ralph M. Parsons Foundation.
You know, there are many ways that we can donate our time and our energies. Lots of nonprofit organizations, community groups, neighborhood groups, lots of ways that we can get involved in helping our communities. One of the most innovative ways, and we're going to be spending the whole day here, is right here in downtown Hollywood. I am walking with the executive director of this organization. Carol, explain to us where we are and what's going on right here.
Well, Huell, you're at Recording for the Blind and Dyslexic, the Los Angeles unit. And what we're doing is we are recording textbooks. We use our volunteers to record textbooks in every subject area from A to Z.
Now, I've heard about this organization for a long time, and I've never actually seen it in action. Basically, what we're looking at, this hallway we walk down here is full of little rooms, like the one we're looking in right here. What happens? What's she doing in there?
Well, you're looking at our recording booths, and we have a volunteer in there reading a textbook, and we have Micah out here, another volunteer, who is being the director. He is listening and making sure that she doesn't skip words, that she is pronouncing words correctly, and that she describes the charts, the graphs, and the maps that are on every page of that book.
Now, Micah, this is very interesting. We are looking at this book that she is reading. What is her name? I haven't met her yet.
Suze Landay.
Now, is she one of your regular volunteers?
Yes, she is.
Now, she's reading this textbook, The United States, The History of the United States, Modern America. So this isn't some novel. This is a history book she's reading.
We record primarily textbooks like this. We do get some novels in every once in a while, but we read a lot of these types of history books.
So now she just literally goes down the page from page to page.
Yes, and we have markings. We have certain conventions and ways we read the books. We describe all the figures, so they have to know how to get through the page.
Well, what do they do about the pictures and the maps and the charts and the graphs?
We describe them all.
So you verbally describe the picture.
Yep.
Doesn't that get complicated? How do you do that?
It does. That's why we have specialist readers and volunteers that have been doing this for a long time.
Because this book is full of pictures and charts and graphs. And what do you do when it comes to algebra and geometry and logarithms?
We have a lot of former math teachers and math professors, and they can explain it a lot better than I can, so that's why we have them here.
And what is your job here sitting outside the booth?
Right now I'm just monitoring to make sure that she reads everything correctly and gets everything on the page in the correct order.
So with the new readers, it's more important to monitor than with the vets, right?
Yes.
The people who've been coming in here for years know what they're doing.
Yeah, we have a lot of readers that have been here for 50 years and know exactly what they're doing, so they don't need
They would probably be offended at you standing out here monitoring what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
They're pretty laid back. But yeah, they do know what they're doing, sometimes better than me.
All right, now she's really into this thing. Is it okay for us to go in there? How long do they stay in there at a time? They can come out whenever they want to, can't they?
Yeah, they can come out and take breaks. We don't lock them in. But we have 2-hour recording sessions, so they record 2 hours a week.
This is a tight fit. We are in this little booth. I don't even know whether our camera can get in here or not, Suze, but you've been coming here for how long as a volunteer?
I think about 2 years now.
Why did you start coming?
I had a friend who did this, and when I retired, I said, that's something I'd be interested in.
Now, why did you think you would be interested in reading textbooks? What are you reading right now, for example?
Well, I'm reading a history book right now about World War II. We're in that lovely section of our history. Actually, when I first came here, I thought I'd be reading novels. I didn't know I was going to be reading textbooks, but I've always loved to read. I love to read to my children. I used to bore them to death, and I thought, well, here's someone who really wants to listen. So I came here to read.
And you're learning as you read.
Well, that would be nice, except you are so focused on where you're reading and how to read the figures correctly and the order in which you read a page in a textbook and the charts and the graphs and the maps that you don't have time to listen to yourself.
So do you read just down one side and up the other and then just turn the page?
Not that easy. There are little lines here which indicate when you come into a page, I need to mark the page number. This indicates I need to mark this chapter, which means I need to make an indication on the computer screen there where it says mark, so that these books can be easily and readily paged to by someone with the tape. They don't, they know, they can key up a page, they can key up a chapter, they can key up very important areas of the book in a snap. So they can read these books during their class time if they needed to refer to something they wanted to listen to during class.
Now, do you get to choose what you read, or do they just bring a book in here and say, Suze, this is your next assignment?
Oh, it's always a surprise.
What if you got an algebra book? That would be my worst nightmare.
No, your worst nightmare it would be a calculus book, but no, they know what our weaknesses and our fortes are, and I've never been given such a book.
Well, but it's got to make you feel good knowing that this work that you're doing here, this volunteer work that you're doing, is actually going to help someone learn and be educated and advance.
The best part of all is meeting the students. They're remarkable. They overcome so much, and they are so grateful, and they are so successful. It's really wonderful. Brings out the teacher in me. I never got to be a teacher.
So you actually get to meet some of the students?
Sometimes they'll come in, and we'll get an opportunity to meet with them, and it's really a pleasure.
Wow. All right, now you've got, I'm just kind of eyeballing this. You're just halfway through this book.
Oh, I will probably only do 1 or 2 files, and this is the length of a file. It might be as many as 15 or 20 pages. And then someone else will come in, and suddenly there'll be a new voice in the book.
Oh, so you don't read the whole book?
Oh, no. No, this is done by volunteers who come in on 2-hour stints. 5 days a week, someone is here, 3 or 4 sessions a day.
Oh.
So we read the book until it's done. These students need these books. They can't wait for me to come back.
This has got to be confusing for the student. They're listening to a book read by 20 different people.
Oh, I think that makes a book a lot more interesting, don't you? If I had to read this book and then one boring voice did the whole thing, I think I'd flip out. Hitler was violently anti-Semitic, anti-Semitic, or prejudiced against Jewish people. Anti-Semitism had troubled Europe for centuries, mainly motivated by religious intolerance and economic resentment. In the late 19th century, new pseudoscientific theories about Jews as a race, along with the rise of nationalism, caused Jews to be marginalized as ethnic outsiders.
Subtract your total score in Step 2 from your total score in Step 1. This is your final score. When using this instrument, it is important to recognize that the difference in these self-reports between females and males is statistically significant and socially significant. That is, substantial variance in the scores on this instrument can be attributed to biological sex.